Hey everybody, welcome back to Pushing Pixels. I'm your host Sam Mestis, and today we're going to build this Dancing with the Stars ad. Now, I've done this before in class, but I've since then updated it. So we're going to do it again with some new updates and things. Before we get going on that, we need to build this little lens flare real quick. So we're going to make a brush out of this lens flare. So I'm going to hide that for a minute. And I have a new document here that is, you will need to build this 6 by 6 inches at 300 dpi. Got my little zoom there. All right, so build that document with a black background. Okay, so the reason it has to be black is because we're going to use the lens flare filter, and it only works on a layer that has a fill on it. So here we go. All right, so we have our layer here. I'm going to double click this just to make it active because it's locked. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go up to filter and render and go to lens flare. All right, and I'm going to get this little effect here, and you can move the lens flare around in this box and get more lens flares happening. But honestly, what I'm looking for is to just put it right in the center, right there. We're just going to use the default one, 50 to 300 zoom, 100% brightness, and that's all we're going to do. And it's going to literally put it right in the center of our document. All right, so there's our settings for that. And I'm going to click OK, and there it is. And that's our lens flare. And now we're going to turn this into a brush. So before we do that, though, we need to sort of do it, turn it to black and white. So Command-Shift-U to desaturate it, or you can go to Image Adjustments, Desaturate right there. But Command-Shift-U is the shortcut key. And if we look at it, it's still a little gray. So I'm gonna try to get the whites to pop a little bit harder. So to do that, we're gonna use levels. Command-L. You can see the keystrokes down here at the bottom of the screen, by the way. And I am going to drag this white slider on the left over a bit till we get maybe to sort of right there. Okay. Now it's a little bit brighter. And I'm gonna click OK. And commit to that. The other thing when I like to make brushes, I like to do real quick is I'm going to reset my colors to black and white. Hit the D key for that. I like to bring in a very slight gradient on each side of the image, just in case there's some white hanging out out here that I can't see. So I'm going to go to the gradient tool, G, and I'm going to choose gradient to transparent. Right? That'll be the second one there. So I want to go from black to 0. And I'm just going to come in off the sides just a little bit, off all 4 sides, just to make sure I'm good. And I should be good. All right, let's make our brush. In order to make our brush, we need to have it black on white. So we're going to have to invert this. Command-I will invert it. Or image, where's that at? Adjustments, invert. Right there, Command-I. And the image deal. So that's going to be our brush. So here we go. Let's go to Edit. Define brush preset, and I'm going to call this round lens flare, F-L-A-R-E, right, and hit OK. And when I do this, it will commit my brush to my brush palette, to my ABS file. And there we go. When we have a brush, if you actually go up, it's already selected for you up there, but it'll be the last brush in your brushes right there. All right. Guess what? We don't need this anymore. Let's say goodbye to this. Bye. No, I'm not even going to save it. All right, everybody, we made our brush. Now let's make our ad. Let's make our ad, and here's how it's going to work. We're going to make this Dancing with the Stars ad, and we're going to use those 2 images to do it. So let's start with, get rid of that real quick. Let's start with this guy real quick. This is our disco ball, and everything about Dancing with the Stars is glam and glitz. So we're going to start with that, and I want to make this a little bit bigger. It's too small. So I'm going to, on this document, that'll be our main document, by the way, I'm going to double click the layer because it's locked, and I'm going to call it ball. It'll let me rename it, and it's unlocked now. Free transform it. It's too small, so I'm going to scale this. Command T will free transform, and it's also under the edit menu in transform. And I'm going to scale this up, and I want this thing to be close to the edge and down further, somewhere about there. I want the ball to be sort of close to the edge there. Perfect. I don't want the color. We don't need the color. Let's desaturate it. Command Shift U will desaturate. And if you need to know where that is, Command Adjustments, desaturate right there. It's not quite wide enough. I want it a little bit wider. So let's level it. Command L. And I'm going to drag the white slider just over just a little bit. You can sort of see on the image what's happening there. So right about there, 220-ish, and hit OK. Perfect. That's awesome. We need her now, so let's get her into our working document. I want it to look like she's coming, like she's exploding out of this ball here, just like she is there. All right, so let's grab her, hold down the Shift key, and drag her across. And there she is. And before I desaturate her, which is what we're going to do, I need to, I want to scale her up just a little bit because she's not quite big enough for the document. I'm going to free transform her just a little bit. Just like that. Okay. Now, before we desaturate her, I need some color luminance information from her. And to do that, we're going to do this. Make sure she's selected, GIRL. I'm going to name that layer. Go to Channels now, and holding down your Command key, or Control if you're on a PC, holding down your Command key, we're going to click on that little picture in the channels, the RGB channel. Click, and it will select all the luminance values of this model, of this image. All right, and that's all we need. Let's go back to the layers, and I'm going to close this. We don't need her anymore. So you can still see our values are still selected on her right there. And if we hit Command J, it's going to copy that selection to a brand new layer. Hold on your Command key and hit J. There's your commands down there at the bottom, and it has made a copy of those luminance values. Now they're pretty transparent, but they are there, and we're going to use those later. All right. All right, so I'm going to just turn those off for now. Okay, they're there. I'm going to turn my girl and my disco ball back on. On the girl, we need to desaturate her again. I want her black and white. Command Shift U again to make her black and white. And again, I want to level her up. I want some more whites out of her. So Command L. Okay, and I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. Perfect. Not too bad. Now, she needs to explode out of this disco ball, so let's see if we can do that. We need to put a mask on her because I need to reveal the disco ball underneath there. So let's put a mask, click her, go down to the bottom here, and hit the squared circle right there, and that will put a mask on her right there. And make sure you don't have the image selected. You want to be editing the mask, and you'll know by those brackets. All right, hit the G key because that's our gradient tool, okay? G. And then go up here to the top, and we're going to select the second one, black to transparent, okay? That guy right there. And it goes from solid black to 0, nothing. And I'm going to hit OK. And with that selected now, and the mask selected, I'm going to start at the bottom of the image, and I am going to pull all the way up, maybe to her shoulder. And look at that. That's pretty good. It's a good start. I'm going to go here and get in some more of these elements. All right, I'm doing some little selections, but that is pretty good. All right, no color information though. We still do have that color information that we took earlier, but we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so that's not too bad, right? I like it. Let's now, if I, just out of curiosity, what happens if I turn it to screen? Interesting. Okay, so now we need to sort of add some color. If you look at our original, it's got a gradient map on it right here, and adjustment layer. And what that gradient map is doing is it's giving us that sort of gold tone that you see right there. And it's also set to color blend mode, which is a color mode I don't use very often, but it's helping sell this thing quite a bit. So let's go over to here now. Close this guy, and we're going to put that gradient map on it. So make sure your girl layer is selected, and we're going to go to the bottom here and scroll all the way down on our adjustments layer till we find gradient map. It's in that half circle, filled circle. Now all we see is black and white because the gradient is that it's chosen is black and white. It's chosen that guy right there. But we can use something else, and I'm going to use one I have that looks like this. You can use whatever you want, whatever gradient map you feel like building or using or whatever, but I'm going to use that one. Alrighty, and hit OK. Now it looks weird because we have to change the blend mode to color. So let's go make sure that gradient map is selected and change the blend mode to color. And it's going to color everything below because that's how adjustment layers work. They work with the layers below it. So it's coloring these two layers gold. It's a little bit flat now though, so let's turn that skin color one back on, right? Remember that one we made earlier? And you can still kind of see it now. It doesn't have a mask on it like she does, so we can kind of see her in front of the ball. But we can steal that gradient mask and put it on that layer. So let's do that. So hold on your Alt key and click and grab that mask and drag a copy of it up to that luminance layer. And now she's disappeared there. So that worked out nicely. Here, I'll turn the mask off. You can see her there. And if I turn it back on, she's gone. So we can reuse masks all over the place. The other thing I want to do is I want to level her up. It's a little bit flat now, and I want to crank her up a little bit. So levels, Command L one more time, and we are going to pull this almost all the way to half. About half. There we go. The white slider, that is, and that looks pretty good. And now it's sort of popping a lot more than it was before. All right, not looking too shabby. Hey, let's add our logo. Let's open that PNG I gave you guys. That one that says Dancing with the Stars right there. And it's going to open. I'm going to drag that off here. But it is black, and I don't need it black. I need it white. So since it's black, I can just invert it. Command I will do the invert and turn it white. Perfect. If you hold down your Shift key now, you can drag it over to your working document. Ignore this. And using your move tool, you can move it down. No. Let's close this. Don't save. All right. We're almost done. That brush we made earlier. Let's use that brush. On a brand new layer on top, I'm going to make a new layer right there. There's our logo. I'm going to call that logo just so I know what it is. And I'm going to call this new layer I just made flare, flares. All right. And if we hit the B for our brush tool, that brush we made earlier should be at the bottom of your palette. And I have white selected just for laughs, just so I can see what it looks like. And look at that. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to scale it down here. I'm using my bracket keys. Left and right brackets scale your brushes up and down. So I'm going to scale it down just a bit. And I'm going to put that right there. All right. I'm going to put I'm going to do 3 of them. I'm going to do another layer, and I'll call that Flare 2. And I'm going to put that one. That one's going to be bigger. Right about there. And then I'll make one more layer, and we'll call that Flare 3. And I'm going to make it smaller. It'll be right about there. All right, so now here's what we can do. I'm going to go back to Flare, the first one I made. I'm going to double click it, and I'm going to turn on Outer Glow. And you can see it tones my image for me. And I have it set to screen, and the color, the opacity is at 88, and I picked any color. And in this case, I have this rust color. Okay, and the size is about 161. And this, you can adjust according to your taste, whatever you like. You know, it's up to you. And I'm going to hit OK. So now that one flare has color on it, I'm going to copy that color to the other 3 layers. If you hold down your Alt key, I'm going to click that Outer Glow and copy it to Flare 2, and then I'm going to copy it from Flare 2 to Flare 3, and now they're all 3 the same color. But here's the deal. Now you can go back to each individual one and change the colors. Maybe I want this one to be more of a blue. All right, and maybe I want 2 to be, I don't know, green of some sort. Oh, that's horrible. Pink. There we go. That'll be better. Pink. There you go. And that is how you build your Dancing with the Stars logo. If you really wanted to, you could take that logo, and sometimes, since it kind of doesn't stand off enough, I may put an outer glow around it. I may use that pink. I may even use a darker hot pink of that. You know, it really depends. Maybe black. What's wrong with black? Let's see if black goes. We need to change it to multiply. Let's see if that works. Yeah, too hot a little bit, but I don't mind black so much. It's not too bad. That's pretty good. All right, so that's how you build your Dancing with the Stars logo. Good luck. Keep photoshopping. Thank you.